Hey, this is Notser, and today we're going to be taking a look at Venezia. This is the Tier 10 Italian cruiser, and we are rocking Luigi Sansonetti. Partially because Wargaming offers CC's 15 free premium containers each event. I took advantage of that. I bought 6 of my own, and then the rest are all non-premium that you can earn with Mediterranean tokens or even the directives. So I'd say in order to fully unlock Luigi, I needed about 25 to 30 containers, give or take. Now, we did have significant duplicates. These premium, non-premium, it seemed to be indiscriminate on exactly what dropped. So, you know, your luck is as good or better than mine. Hopefully, it doesn't take you too long to unlock him. Because, in my opinion, Luigi is kind of overpowered. This guy is basically necessary to feel like you are actually scary when using these Italian cruisers. And, you know, some tiers actually have, you know, great traits. But, man, some of the Italian cruisers, I was lost. I did not know how to actually get a good game out of these guys. They don't have concealment. They don't have consumables that are useful for the team. They have a really long reload. SAP and AP require that the ship is at least somewhat broadside. Any angling that is extreme, both of them will ricochet. The smoke ability, that is the only trait of the Italians, has a really long cooldown. So what you're left with is a really weird amalgamation of a lot of different ships in my mind. We got some of the Germans with the turret traverse. We've got the Japanese with the fast rudder and honestly the thin profile. I even looked at this guy and it looked starkly similar to something like the Azuma, where it had, you know, nearly no armor, and it was really on just avoiding incoming damage to actually survive. The torpedoes are really slow. They have a really fast recharge, but they're really slow. They're basically sea mines at the speed that they go. And I was just trying to figure out, you know, how do I actually help my team win the game? Oh yeah, and we're rocking the tracer, so yeah, you can appreciate just how crazy this tracer is. We are shooting, yes, we're shooting red, white, and green at our targets, each and every shell. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I was checking out the Italians. I was trying to get a consistency to the play. What I like to do, and most of you are probably aware of this, I like to figure out what the line is actually good at. And for the longest time, I just couldn't. And oh man, the Z-52 out in the open. Turrets are traversing against the grain because I'm turning away from the torpedoes that he just sent. And oh, the agony. I know he's going to drop in a smoke. Of course he's going to drop in a smoke. We take a shot at his last known position, hoping that it's good enough. Of course it's not. Miss out on the accuracy, and the disappointment is just palpable. I can't believe how little influence I've had so far on this match. You know, we literally haven't done any damage. Literally no damage. But that's going to change. Now, what I decided to do this game is quite simple. Every time I was near an objective or near a possibility of a DD, I tried to piggyback off of a friendly that would spot him. Whether it's a CV, a DD, radar, whatever. And I would go after the DD. That's the only target in my mind to be the most effective in the Italians. And once I changed the way I played, and I mean, I'm not joking with you. I will pass up 40,000 farmable damage just to take one shot at a DD, because when I use the SAP in conjunction with this just really super focus on the DDs, I found that the game win rate went up. My consistency to carry also went up, because once I took the DDs out, it was really difficult for the enemy team to actually have a chance to win, right? And I feel like that's what they're good at. This is the Italian identity. They are sort of DD assassins. Doesn't matter the type of DD. French DDs are very weak against Italians as well. The gun velocity is just so useful when engaging these guys. But once I, you know, focused my efforts on the DDs, wore them out, it took an average of 2 to 3 salvos per DD to kill them. And when I did that, they didn't have any objective control. I could have my influence all over the map if I wanted to. I've got great speed, but without the focus on the DDs, and if I was just farming damage on battleships and cruisers, Well, high explosive spammers do a better job. What are you good at? High alpha on lightly armored targets. This is basically the Citadel class for DDs. This is what makes DDs fear a ship line. And in some of the games that I was playing, I absolutely murdered DDs. I'm talking 10,000 broadside. Easily. And, I mean, you can only take 2 or 3 of those and you're gone. So even when I could easily farm a broadside or a DD, I always chose to fire on the DD in the latter half of my games. And when I did that obnoxious focus, the games ended up consistently higher win rate, higher impact, higher kill count. But when I ignored the DD, even if there wasn't a better target, you know, some players in their mind, they feel like, okay, doing 20,000 damage to a battleship is worth more than doing 2,000 damage to a DD. That's not true. You've got to actually work on doing damage to the DD because they have the most influence over the game. They can spot, they can capture objectives, they can spot your team's DDs, and they can take them out of the game, which is very crippling for the Italians. I mean, it's incredibly disappointing when you don't have any DDs on your team to spot for you or even screen for you. This enemy Kaba is coming up. Looks like he might be broadside. And his 50mm plate, it's useless. Completely useless against SAP. So all I need is good broadsides, and we're going to be delivering a payload. 6,000 on the first salvo. Feels pretty good, right? Feel like I actually contributed. Maintain good angle, obviously. Keep islands in between myself and enemies. And we're trying to get one more shot before he goes behind that. Someone lands a big shot, and we land the rest. If we get the kill, almost 10,000, we earn Triumphant Hull, which is one of the passives that Luigi Sansonetti activates. And you will notice we now magically have more range on our ship. This is what I'm talking about on my intro when I'm talking about Luigi is borderline mandatory for the Italian cruisers, especially at high tier, to really have that extra level up potential. It's really here. And oh, hello there, Z52. Broadside, of course, we're going to take the snapshot. We got to. It's worth it. It's enough to take them out, get a second kill, and now there's only one DD left on the enemy team. Now, all we have to do is really pick on this Benson over by A point. Our team can have C and B, and as long as we stay near max range, it's going to be really difficult for the enemy team to do anything of note. And yep, there's the Benson. And I think players are going to recognize that the Italians are really good. Oh, man. Another 10,000. Guy's barely alive. We actually bump into a friendly. Sorry. And he pops smoke and he hides. But we're one salvo away from taking out all of the enemy DDs and leaving them nothing. I mean, isn't that exciting? Oh, I tried to blind fire. Now, the reload on the Italians does limit the blind fire. I did try to just on cooldown blind fire DDs with Italian reload, and it's really difficult. It's one of the reasons why I think their reload is so long, because SAP is such a hard counter to the DD that if you were just able to willy-nilly fire, I mean, 15 guns is 15 guns into smoke, eventually you're going to find them. You know, similar to the Smolensk or a light cruiser, just spam firing into smoke. Eventually you're going to find them, and eventually they're going to be dead. So the reload really discourages sort of just blindly firing into smoke. If you can combo it with a scout aircraft, it works out a little bit better. But I was over here going, do I really want to fire on this guy? Do I want to give my position away to another ship that may or may not be in range of my guns? Because one of the downsides, of course, when you extend the range of your guns, you also extend the range that you're spotted. I would definitely prefer to have the range of the guns because I do feel like 17.1 is a little low for the base range. But that's fine. That's fine. And we, of course, are a little bit too close to the opponent, Venezia, so we're going to use our smoke. And since I know that everyone is pretty far away, I can safely smoke fire. One of the other downsides of these guys is smoke firing is so easy. And oh, of course, The second you see a DD, you pick on him. You go after him. You don't hold up. You don't go, oh, there's more damage. No, kill that guy. It's very easy for you. And, of course, friendly Cossack gets the kill. Happy for him. But we were going to make sure that that DD was dead. And, you know, we're not in a commanding lead. We have 2 bases to the enemy's 1. But they don't have any more destroyers. They don't have that easy spotting. The Italian cruiser, very bad at spotting. He went broadside, so I used Expert Loader to switch to AP. And this is easy money. Easy money to blast him out of existence. That's when you use AP. When a predictable target is broadside, that's really the only time I felt like AP was worth it. If I had a broadside target and I couldn't get into their citadel, I would rather just fire sap at their superstructure, the top of the hull too. Some targets, the top of the hull is too much armor. Or their bow and stern. That was pretty much my bread and butter, and it ended up doing very well. Doing very, very well. So, you know, it's an interesting relationship with the Italians. They have such high alpha against certain targets. You just can't overlook that. You can't ignore that. It is sort of driving your shells towards those targets. And in doing that sort of targeting system, it will actually increase the influence you have over the game. Because the alpha is so extremely high on these guys that you can't overlook that. You can't ignore that. If a DD is on the flank with an Italian cruiser and he's not being very disciplined with his angling, he will suffer. He will probably contribute to his early demise. And that's also contributing towards players feeling that, you know, maybe SAP's a little too good against DDs. I've also heard that too. And you know what I say to that is, if for not the strength of SAP against certain lightly armored targets, this line would be dead on arrival completely. I mean, this is really the one thing that, you know, the Americans, the Soviets, the Germans, the Japanese, all of them are jealous of. This ability to wipe out DDs and not give them much reaction time. I'm getting there, and the games are becoming more consistent, and I'm just concentrating on the fact that, yes, it might be flagged as a cruiser, but its identity is a DD's. Who it looks to counter and focus on is the same as if I were to play a Kaba, a Grozzo, a Gearing, a Z-52, honestly, and a Kleber. These ships really want to pick on other DDs. They want to do the best possible thing they can do for their team, and that's denying, spotting, capturing, all that stuff by taking out the DDs. Once they're taken out, those types of ships roam free. You know, they've basically done their job, and now all they have to do is contribute. But they don't have that kind of urgency to fulfill a role, and it's much in the same way with the Italian cruisers. You pick off those DDs, very easy to earn Confederate. Very easy to earn all of the passives, and we are about to earn all of the passives, by the way. On the next salvo, we're very close. We're at 95 shells. All we have to do is get up to a 100, and if we can earn Confederate, and it's not that hard to do with high alpha as well. You know, if you work through 2 or 3 DDs, it's very straightforward. But once with Luigi, I activate all of his passives. I have 18.5 kilometer range, 14-second reload, because 15% improve with the Confederate, and then with 100 shells on the target. Yep, there we go. Desperate Resistance, Scorched by Fury. We've activated all 3 passives in this game. And once I started changing to focusing DDs, I basically activated all 3 passives nearly every game. DDs are very easy to contribute towards Confederate. Obviously, you can get a lot of high damage on certain DDs, and it's a large percentage damage towards them. 100 shells, you're firing 15 shells every salvo. Even with super low reload, that's pretty straightforward to get. We weren't firing that long, yet we were able to do it. And by the passives activating, I have 15% faster reload, 10% extended consumable duration, and I also have 8% better range on my guns. Isn't that like a win-win-win? I mean, that all aligns so well with this strat. And honestly, it was so consistent once I started doing this that I was kind of concerned that the commander is probably too good. Like, the Italian cruisers without the commander, they feel so inadequate, so lackluster. And I'm trying to get this Kraken on the Smolensk near max range for me, especially with the extended range. And oh, we should get the Kraken. Oh, so close. So close. Friendly Yamato finishes off an enemy on the other side of the map, and that's the game. And boy, I actually enjoyed playing the Italian cruisers once I adopted this strat. And it shows 4 kills, 2,495 base XP. We did work for our team, and it was work in focusing that alpha towards those targets. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that game. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to check out more of my content, you can click the most recent or the most relevant uploads. You could also choose to subscribe to my channel. We do daily World of Warship videos, first impression, how-to, news, and review related. My North American recruit invite is on the screen. You can take advantage of that. I stream at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.